Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, you're kind of like saying that Sis is better than Rock because it beat Paper and
That's
Paper
right.
beat Rock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't see the failure.
You're an absolute goose, mate.
In my logic.
Anyway, we are now over to Volskaya Industries, and the pressure is on.
Much better traffic in Volskaya Industries I've seen there as well than it is in Sydney.
And look at this. Look at this setup, Jordan. I love it.
It's pretty unsurprising in a way from Blank. I mean, I guess you could argue a little surprising because typically we actually see Tongue being the one on either the Ashe or the Widowmaker, and then that frees up Nox to kind of do whatever else he wants with a Tracer or a Sombra or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's only the 2 DPS here for Blank.
Well, they're going to go around the side for now. And the real change up for me, Jordan, is that Titawat is playing on a Winston, when normally we see the Reinhardt on attack and the Winston on defense. So no real free charge here for Modern.
A lot of free charge for Nox there.
Yes, exactly right. Going to throw the TNT in.
Sydney Drop Bears here, they're just going to try and negotiate their way into the closest possible angle that they can get to Blank before they actually have to start their offensive.
Well, they're going to split up and try and take the high ground as best they can. Nox doing a lot of free damage. Titawat and a Kraken both low. The Blank needs to find a pick, though, onto one of these players because eventually they are going to start going down.
Yep.
1 tick already achieved by the Drop Bears, looking to make it 2. The battle still rages up high. Titawat goes down. Bob now thrown onto the point. I think actually stopping short of the point, potentially not contesting.
Not contesting, definitely not, but still able to put some damage out and be a threat that Sydney Drop Bears have to be aware of. Look at Kura as well going Battle Mercy mode. Everyone wants to get involved in the damage here for Blank, such is their style of play. Yeah. And again, we're on to Kura. He's going to take down Choyo. Meanwhile, rezzing Modern. Excellent work. You'll love to see it.
Oh, plays of the game potentially coming out from the Mercy here by Kura. And the first fight will just go in favor of Blank, and going to manage to bring it back to essentially just that first tick. It was close, however. Yeah,
my concern always with running a composition like this on Volskaya is for Blank on the defense. If they lose this point, they're going to have to force the changes onto point B.
Yep.
And that's why Sydney Drop Bears now just going to roll in with a massive ult advantage. So unless Blank really stalls them a lot here, it's still going to be a very scary prospect.
Well, CKM has gone down. That'll help the situation just a little bit. Roro trying to get out of there. The heals coming through, keeping Roro alive. Now Shoyo is the target. DMEC does come through. Tung going to seal the deal there. And Roro actually doing a pretty good job of staying alive, and I think Kuru doing a pretty good job of helping Roro stay alive. But now Blank is sitting on 3, almost 4 ultis. The Drop Bears going to be in a pretty good position themselves. They're going to have a full house, 6 ready and available with 1 minute on the clock. So they should get this fight theoretically. If they don't, they're kind of screwed. If they do, maybe they roll onto Objective B with a bit of momentum.
Well, you're really relying on Roro and Nox to find a pick here before the fight even starts, which is what happened in the last fight.
Yeah.
Or Noz maybe to eat a grab or something like that. It needs to be a big individual play from one of the Blank guys if they're to win the fight here. Otherwise, Sydney Drop Bears just creams them with the amount of ults that they do have available. Modern just going to try and disrupt things with the Primal Rage. It's a good start to the fight for Blank.
Not a bad start at all, buying another 30 seconds on the clock. Both Winstons actually using Primal Rage. Kura going to get in with the ulti as well. Bob's still available, so you've got 6.5 players available here for Blank. Self-destruct comes through, sound barrier used by the Drop Bears, and Shoyo goes down. This is not looking good for the Sydney Drop Bears at all, Jordan. They need something huge right now, and they are not finding it. 10 seconds on the clock. Bertlocker cracking down. CKM is down. This is going to be a full hold by Blank.
There's no question about that anymore, Ben. Sydney Drop Bears don't even have anyone that can get on the point. And Shoyo, he was the one that started, throws the self-destruct, and Roro peeks him as he tries to get back into the mech. And now, well, I mean, best case scenario for Blank is, or worst case scenario for Blank really is like they lose. But realistically speaking, this should be a 3-0 now for them.
No way. How is this possible?
Gaming house up, boys.
They didn't even use the Fire, Jordan. They just outplayed them. Literally every advantage was to the Drop Bears then. They could modify their team comp as they wished. They could do what they wanted to do. wasn't the same scenario that we saw when they were on defense and, you know, had to be reactive to what Blank were picking.
This is true. And
So,
you could definitely make the argument for Sydney Drop Bears that had they tried to play some different compositions and tried to counter the counter, then they may have had a better time. But they didn't, and this is where they find themselves. So now they have to have an even better hold on the defense here of Volskaya than what Blank was able to do in order to keep themselves even alive in this series.
yeah, it's a real tough situation to be in. It's definitely possible for the Drop Bears to hold this, but 64.3% is not what you want on the first objective. You don't want to be stuck holding 2/3 of the point, Jordan.
Not against what Blank is running here. We've got quad DPS coming out. Morton's going to be on the Wrecking Ball, so he doesn't need too much help. He can do his own thing. Kura there just to keep Roro topped off, keep Tung topped off, and Noz and Nox should be able to flank around the map and find those health packs as necessary. It's a very scary prospect here for Sydney Drop Bears running the GOATS comp. They're going to be stuck in the big health pack room. We'll try to bust out, but look at all the angles that Blank can take here. Shoyo's already at half HP. He's going to be demeched for sure here.
Oh, look at this. Again, Roro coming straight out here on the fire and going to find a pick. Titawat hacked up as well. Huss brings one back, but automatically to go down. And now Blank are in prime position to pick this one up. If Titawat goes down here, it is game over, Jordan.
It's just, I mean, the 1-for-1 trades are so favorable for Blank here, not only because they have the Mercy, but because they have the faster respawns as well to get back to the point. So Sydney Drop Bears need something to turn it around, and that might well be it. A good kill from a Kraken. Noz here has built the EMP though, so I don't think it's all for naught. I mean, Blank had an opportunity actually to finish it then and there, and Sydney Drop Bears have managed to come back into it, but Blank can't be too disappointed. They've built ults.
Yeah, I think Blank are in a great position, to be perfectly honest. 2 minutes 40. The Drop Bears still with all of the pressure on their shoulders right now. And Noz, look, here's the problem, right? You're caught up inside a building because you don't want to get hit by the Farah, but then you're also all inside a building where the EMP can hit all of you at once.
I don't think Noz necessarily wants to go that close inside the building because that's when he sort of just
also need
gets
to
shield
contest
bashed.
the point, right? So
that's right.
That's potentially what we're waiting for here. And that's exactly what we see. A 5-man EMP, but it hits everyone other than a Kraken who comes out straight away with the Transcendence to save the day, Jordan.
Yep, very, very good Transcendence. Nice positioning from a Kraken. And Sydney Drop Bears are making the right moves, although Shoyo's fallen off the edge.
Oh, no way.
Did he get hacked? I think he might have gotten hacked and the boosters ran out as he was over the edge. Now Roro with the Rocket Barrage.
They're on the point. They're capturing Bob's out there as well. That's Tung coming through. And this is now looking like we might see a defeat here for the Sydney Drop Bears. One last contest, Jordan. But Blank Esports will take down the Sydney Drop Bears. Our back-to-back-to-back champions have lost a game in the regular season. And it hasn't even been close. Really?
That is unprecedented, really. It was a year ago the last time that we saw Sydney Drop Bears lose in the regular season. And now, I mean, it feels like, I don't know. You know, it's something that, have you ever been in a situation where you've waited for something for so long and then it finally happens? You're like, oh, that happened. Kind of like, okay. I felt like I'd be a little bit more excited, but Blank have just sort of destroyed Sydney Drop Bears so easily that it hasn't even felt like a contest at all. And now we're here, and Blank's going to be the top of the ladder at the end of this week.
Are they really?
Yeah.
They're really going to be the top of the ladder?
Well, Order's lost a match to Sydney Drop Bears, and now Sydney Drop Bears have lost to Blank. Blank's the only team with an undefeated record now this season.
It's going to be incredible, Jordan. It's going to be insane. So many good plays coming out here from Blank. Look, I think that this Blank roster is definitely capable of taking down Order now as well. So, I can't help but feel, though, that there has to be something else here that the Drop Bears could have come into this game with. Like, it's not like they didn't know what Blank were going to be playing. We've seen it week after week after week. This isn't a surprise, right?
It's just a case of Sydney Drop Bears not executing their compositions the way that they would want to. You know, it's not like these kind of compositions that Sydney Drop Bears are running can't beat what Blank is running. They're just not being executed correctly. I mean, to not be able to get through point A on Volskaya, yeah, sure, they're running Winston Goats against the double, I mean, I guess in the sense double sniper composition, because you can kind of count Ash, I think, in the double sniper setup. But we've seen it before. We've seen it time and time again that Winston Goats can beat double sniper if you play it effectively. Or if Blank makes a mistake. And in this case, Blank is having a great day and Sydney Drop Bears is not having a good day at all.
No, the Sydney Drop Bears, well, having their worst day, I suppose, of the last 12 months. So, yeah, this is a very interesting day for sure. The question now is, can the Drop Bears find some glimmer of hope in this and pick up Rialto, or are Blank going to make it a 4-0? It would be, like, if we had said, hey, the Drop Bears will lose one match this season, you'd say, okay, well, probably going to be a 3-2. Maybe we head into the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
But that's obviously not even possible now. And the 4-0 on the cards, if you're the Drop Bears, are you tilted? I don't know. Like, it seems to have been getting progressively worse throughout this series. The more maps to lose, the worse they play.
That I would have to agree with. I think maybe there's a little bit of tilt factor setting in here for Sydney Drop Bears. It's been so long since they've been at a deficit like that, and now so long since they've lost, that they're probably not very used to playing in a position like this where they're getting actually beaten.
Look at those. Just, yeah. Just chilling. It's funny, because the rest of the Sydney Drop Bears are just chilling as well. They will eventually come out. CKM here on the Widow, so a little bit of a change up. Blank defending with Roro here on the Ash, but Nox will be across on the Sombra. No Farah to work with, and Roro somehow gets the better of CKM, getting in nice and close. Kraken looking a little bit unhealthy as well. The question for me is, will the Drop Bears win this first fight and be able to get the payload moving, or will Blank be able to hold to start this one off? And Roro definitely doesn't want to be fighting against the Winston in that closer
No, Roro wants to back
situation.
up and give some room here for himself. Haas has already managed to find Tongue, so the healing's actually gone now for Blank, and then that means the war of attrition easily will go the way of Sydney Drop Bears. It's a little bit more like it.
Yes, it is. This is what we want to be seeing from the Drop Bears. Get that payload moving, come up against a potentially unconventional team comp, and actually be able to defeat it. And do so with, look, to be fair, what is... I'm glad to see them actually changing up what they're playing to try and suit the situation.
This is true. You have to think, what if they would have done that 3 maps ago? I know for a fact that CKM and Haas have some very good DPSs up their alley. And that's a great sleep dart, actually.
It's a very good sleep dart. Look how aggressive the Drop Bears have been there. They're pushing out all the way onto the bridge. CKM finds Roro, then finds Tongue. And more damage coming across the board. The Drop Bears will find checkpoint A. And now they're sitting on what is going to be 6 ultis coming into the first fight.
Nicely done from Roro.
Yeah.
A couple of big headshots into Bertlong, but he's going to fall down anyway. And already the point was captured by Sydney Drop Bears, so realistically it doesn't matter too much. Captured so easily, Ben, by the way, that they didn't even use a single ult to get it.
Yeah.
They just waltzed on in, said thank you very much.
I might need this later.
Nox looking for a big EMP. No, not for now, not yet. Just chilling. Maybe going after the Widow. We'll have to see whether that's the case or not. Haas lurking up on top as well with this pulse bomb. Needs to find a squishy target. But it's going to be Sho who finds Kura, and Titawat's popped the Primal Rage as well. So another fight win going across to the Drop Bears. And this is what we expected to see. They're really not investing that much into the fight. They're winning the fights anyway. The payload's moving very quickly, very efficiently here for the Sydney Drop Bears. And, well, glad to see they've finally woken up. Taken a while.
It's too late though, Ben.
It is too late.
Doesn't matter if you get this one map for Sydney Drop Bears. I mean, I guess potentially in the context of if Blank somehow beats Order, then it does. Because then they'd all have an equal matchup, and it would be Sydney Drop Bears and Order playing for second place.
Bob comes through. The EMP has also been used. But Nox and Haas both finding, Titawat and Haas both finding picks. Again, this fight very quickly going across to the Drop Bears. And they've made a lot of ground here, Jordan, with the payload. And they're looking like they might be able to get checkpoint B as well. And if they do, They're going to have a ton of time on the clock for the third and final phase.
C-Games set himself in a particularly nice angle here, being put under pressure by the Tracer though. Back down, back away. Quite far actually. Sydney Drop Bears are going to reset here. It's the first real proper fight win that Sydney Drop Bears have given over to Blank thus far on Rialto. Sydney Drop Bears have now swapped back onto standard goats, so too is Blank. And that's what I've been talking about. Like when Sydney Drop Bears actually decides to go on to the DPS compositions, that gives the opportunity to Blank to just go back onto goats themselves and then fight it with a goats v goats matchup when Sydney Drop Bears eventually swap back themselves. Where Blank then have the advantage in terms of the ult composition. It's a game of cat and mouse. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why Sydney Drop Bears has been hesitant to swap off.
Self-destruct from Noz. Oh, finds Bertlog, not bad at all. Blank gonna find 2, and Titawat's popped the Primal Rage, so needs to find some serious value, and actually does find some insane value here. As soon as this Transcendence goes down, they might be able to follow up with a bit more damage. No, the sound barrier will come through from Blank, but the payload still seems to be moving forward here. This might be a fight win for the Sydney Drop Bears. Well, it looks like it will be. The respawn's coming in here, though, for Blank, and they're trying to give it their best contest, but at the moment it's really a stagger onto the point more than anything else. It's definitely not the tsunami that they needed. No, it's not. So, Blank lose another fight. 2:45 on the clock. If they've got something in their favour, it's that they're already on this GOAT setup. So that may help them. Morton playing Winston, Titawat playing Reinhardt though, so we'll see how that fares in this close quarters as well. They're going to engage right onto the payload, they're going to find it out. Primal Rage is popped as well, but we'll definitely need to see some serious value up against this Reinhardt. Sound barrier comes through just in the nick of time from Bertlog as well. The payload will continue to move. Roro on the rally, the grab thrown out by Nox. So can they follow this up with damage? Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Blank is doing a very good job on the defense here. Only 2 minutes left for Sydney Drop Bears, and while throughout the majority of this map, it's felt like Sydney Drop Bears have been the ones that have kind of been winning the fight, pushing that payload fine. We're now really in towards point C with only 2 minutes left on the clock, and Sydney Drop Bears start to have to get a little worried about that time bank.
Yep, now both Winstons have swapped across to Reinhardt's, both of them doing this after they used their Primal Rage. Both fights went in the favour of the Primal Rage using team. Grab from Haas. I don't know if they're going to get the value here, Jordan, particularly now the Transcendence has come out so late here from Tung. Earthshatter needs to be big. Earthshatter finds Noz, and that's it. Tung, Noz still alive. Kurid's got the beat to drop, throws it out just in the nick of time. Sikam will go down, 1:18 on the clock. The Drop Bears running out of time.
Yeah, they most certainly are. Morton just stuck in the corner there, but it's not going to matter for Blank in general. They had their entire team very, very healthy. The rally helping out in that respect. Tung's building the Transcendence up here. A minute left on the clock here for Sydney Drop Bears, but anything that they throw into this fight, I think, is really just going to be counted out by that one Transcendence. And Nox has got a grab of his own, where right now, waiting for both of the Sydney Drop Bears supports to get theirs up. It's going to take a little longer than it will for Tung. Probably not enough to make too much of a difference in the fight. So double support ultimate is the big advantage that Sydney Drop Bears have right now.
Yeah, it certainly is. The question is, how will these be used? How will they be timed? Surely the Drop Bears can manage it correctly. That would be the expectation. But they need to hold on just a little bit longer. Bertlog will be able to get that sound barrier just now. The Transcendence, the first one, uses self-destruct coming down just as the Trans ends. Won't find any pick. Sound barrier comes out as well. Roro caught out. Tung pops the Transcendence, but it will not save Roro. The Earthshatter used by Morton as well. Titawat going to get knocked back. Self-destruct now from the Drop Bears. They've already lost 2. The self-destruct doesn't find anything to spawn in favour now of Blank as well. They're looking like they're finding the picks. Shoyo is low. Nox is low. Shoyo goes down as well. And look, it's going to be tough. It won't even matter, Jordan. And round 1 is complete. They will not be able to get through to Objective C. And now that finish line is in the sights of Blank. The 4-0 is in the sights of Blank.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Most definitely is possible. Such great work in that last fight as well by Tung, by the way. He basically got enough value, or as much value, out of his one single Transcendence as both of the support ults coming out from Sydney Drop Bears were able to achieve. So he held on to that Trans for such a long time, and when the grab finally came down, he still had it available. So he knew what he needed to do to keep his team alive through the fight, and he does just that. Excellent stuff from him, and obviously also from Blank to keep themselves in positions where he's not forced to pop the Transcendence early before the Graviton Surge comes out. Good hold from Blank Esports. Charlotte's quite far through the map, so Sydney Drop Bears have ample opportunities to pose a strong defense here. But again, we go back to Blank and we look at what team comp they're going to be running here, at least for point A, and maybe even in towards Phase B of the map too. It's going to be the DPS composition, which obviously Sydney Drop Bears have struggled to deal with today.
Yeah, they really have. And look, I don't mind this change up, seeing a Kraken come across to the Ana. Look, to be fair, Kraken was pretty good on the Zenyatta as well when trying to deal with the Pharah, should it be used. So it's a nice little compromise, I suppose, instead of moving Huss across to the McCree. See whether it plays out in their favor. Obviously, Blank has the advantage of being able to swap almost immediately based on what they see. Going to roll out here with Roro on the Pharah, Kura on the Mercy. So that Pharmacy combo going to be coming through again on attack. And we saw how effective it was on Eichenwald. Can they do the same here on Rialto?
They're going to try and do just that, Ben. Roro using the opportunity to farm up as much damage as he can while Sydney Drop Bears are so clumped up, get as many of the rockets in. And he's doing a pretty nice job of it. Not necessarily.
They have to sit inside. Like it's raining outside, you know what I mean? It's hailing outside. They're all going to huddle inside the house. So,
what? You're feeling disappointed by that as Nox, but he gets the job done in the end.
Does indeed. That boot comes through as well. Titawak going to find himself a little bit out of place. There's players behind him. He does not want to be there. The shield's still up. At least he doesn't have to deal with Reinhardt on the other side of things. But Morton doing what he can there. Let's see if it works out. Oh, Roro.
They were not expecting the rocket barrage that early.
Caught outside in a hailstorm. You know what? You get the warning. You get the storm warning come through, Jordan. You're like, oh, it's okay. I should be able to beat it. Yeah. But you can't really, because you got to deal with traffic, and it's just zooming through the sky.
Indeed.
So, Drop Bears will lose that fight. Blank now in prime position, heading towards Objective A. There will, of course, be another fight.
They probably lose this next one. I'm not sure there is going to be much of a fight, especially if Noz gets a good EMP here. He's probably going to get all 6. Burntlock's already been picked off. So maybe the EMP isn't even necessary, but we're going to see it thrown out anyway.
Just do it.
That's the fight over.
Seal the deal, Jordan. Look at that. You can even see that the nano boost has been used on Roro on the Pharah. To be fair, Roro has had such an impact so far today. Let's just use everything. I guess they're going to swap now. That must be the point, right?
I suppose so.
Surely you don't throw absolutely everything you've got in unless you want to swap across to Goats as soon as that payload goes down. I guess we'll see.
We're not seeing them run away. They're all gone
I guess
forward.
Roro does still have the barrage again.
And when you're looking at the context of what Blank is running here, like the ultimates actually do get charged pretty quickly. EMP very quick. Rocket Barrage already, like you say, has been charged up again. Roro seems to be a machine when it comes to throwing those out. And for Nox, even Ash is able to build Bob pretty quickly too. It doesn't take that long, particularly with the damage over time that you're able to get if you're hitting that almost every time.
Look at this, the entire team turns their attention to Noz. And it's going to allow Blank so much free payload time, Jordan. Already halfway through, and a Kraken's gone down, caught out there by Roro. CKM, Huss, Burtlock all taking a ton of damage as well. A lot of work needs to be done. Roro finds another. At least Huss has managed to bring one back, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. The whole time, the Drop Bears were trying to deal with the Sombra, whilst they were getting picked off one by Blank in this composition. And Nox is having a great time here at the shooting range.
Yeah, it's really kind of target practice for him at the moment. It's not like he's being put under any pressure, really. And all he has to do is kind of point and click adventure game. At least on Ash, you have to hold down right click as well sometimes. That adds some dynamics to the gameplay. Sound barrier down here from Sydney Drop Bears. They've actually been able to deal with Noz as well.
Yeah, so a lot invested into this to find one player, and now CKM is down, Huss is low. Shu does bring one back, and the self-destruct comes through also, won't find any picks. Roro with the barrage potential to use it to its full potential, but maybe better off saving it.
Yeah, really want to get that DMAC first onto Shoyo before he throws out the barrage. I think the fight is lost now for Blanket. Time to back out of here. You can see Nox just charging that Bob up again really quickly.
Literally just used it. And now up to 65%. Very impressive. So Jordan, this is, they are not far away at all.
That's maybe a little overcommitment from Huss.
Yeah. Fortunately, the Tracer can get back to the thick of things pretty quickly.
Look at CKM. Morton hasn't even seen him there.
Oh, almost baited. The CKM definitely taking a fair bit of free damage there, going across to Morton. And now the rest of the team's actually going to get caught out. Titawat dives deep and gets punished for it. Now they're without a main tank.
Oh, no. So is Blank.
Okay.
They're really stalling things up here a little bit now, Sydney Drop Bears. Like it hasn't felt like they've been winning fights, but... And in fact, I feel like they've been losing the fights, but Sydney Drop Bears are still just hanging on to enough pressure to keep Blank out of the fight long enough.
Oh, Bob comes in, but Nox goes down, so it's a little bit unfortunate there for Blank to use it in that sort of scenario. Now the Drop Bears have a glimmer of hope, Jordan. 1:10 on the clock. They might be able to stop it and almost need to stop it before checkpoint B here. And they've got 3 ultis to work with, soon to be 4. Huss going to swap across to the Zarya. And this it's kind of goats for Blank. Isn't necessarily Sombra with I'd probably rather see them with almost a traditional goats. Maybe have swapped out early like we wanted, but nevertheless, they're going to run out of time. They're going to have to fight it how it is. A Kraken with the Transcendence. Titawat pops the Primal Rage as well. Bertlog still sitting on that sound barrier. And Sydney Drop Bears have so much to work with in this fight. And you can see that really they will be able to make the most of that as well. Still going to have 2 ultis heading into this final fight, potentially, of the match.
I think it really speaks volumes for Blank as to how this game is going when they throw the EMP in, and then literally their entire team is pressing the S key and running away from Sydney Drop Bears. So yeah, that's how I suppose the lack of confidence is kind of getting to Blank, at least in this map in particular. Again, not that it really matters. Blank have certainly done the job today, but Sydney Drop Bears have done well enough to get themselves a map here at least.
Blank finally swap across to what you would call traditional GOATS lineup, Jordan, but it is too little too late in my mind. Self-destruct comes through, Tongue's gone down to his counterpart. Noz actually did get DMAC there by the self-destruct. The sound barrier used by the Drop Bears as well. Only rally available for Roro, and Blank will most likely go down in this fight. The Drop Bears looking very close to securing at least one map, so they are not cleaned up 4-0. It's a 3-1 victory, but I don't want that to take away from the huge achievement here for Blank Esports. Congratulations. You take down the Sydney Drop Bears. You lock in your spot at the top of the ladder, and now potential for them to go through the season undefeated.
Yep. And
the big part here for me, Jordan, is if you come in at the top seed, you know you're not going to face, well, I was going to say you know you're not going to face the Drop Bears, but maybe
you want to face the Drop Bears.
Maybe you end up facing the Drop Bears anyway. Who knows? Maybe they only find themselves in 3rd by the end of the regular season. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But again, big congrats to Blank.
Yeah, it's definitely a storyline that is now going to kind of throw the rest of the season of Contenders into disarray, particularly for those top teams that we were talking about, being Sydney Drop Bears, Order, and Blank. No one else really seems to be playing to that same level at the moment. But where all of those teams are actually going to end up as far as the 1, 2, and 3 positions are concerned, the jury's really out at the moment. So what we know at this point is that Sydney Drop Bears beat Order 4-0 quite handily.
Yep.
And then now Blank have actually beaten Sydney Drop Bears 3-1 fairly comfortably as well. Blank and Order are playing next week. That is a match that's really, I think, going to decide if we have almost a 3-way tie. If Order beats Blank, then it kind of comes down to maps and all that other stuff. Or if Blank just straight up beats Order, then 1 is Blank, 2 is Sydney Drop Bears, and Order is 3.
Yep.
But if Order wins, they could still find first place. So it's a very, very weird kind of a situation on the standings at the top level, which is fantastic. We've never had a situation like that, Ben.
What a great regular season, Elfishguy. This 8-team competition certainly has had a lot more surprises, a lot more entertaining games than what we've seen in previous seasons. It's been a big plus for us here in Aussie Contenders. It's been a very exciting regular season so far. Well, it just got better. Yeah,
the gaming house proving to be too strong. Is that the key? Blank is the only team this season that's got a gaming house. Now, admittedly, they had one last season and it went awfully for them. But, hey, maybe they've turned it around. Maybe they figured out what they need to do and made it work. And, well, it's been a good season so far from Blank. They're undefeated. But, Order next week, I'm going to reserve my judgment until I see how that match goes. And then maybe we can start talking about Blank as the best team in the region.
Well, for now, John, it's time to talk about our Macca's play of the game. A McDonald's Australia play of the game, our top of the table clash. The Sydney Drop Bears up against Blank Esports. Morton coming through. It's a big Earthshatter, and you can see the charge as well. He somehow manages to navigate the sides of the bridge as well.
Yeah, I don't know actually how Morton has managed to survive there. He's flown like literally over so many gaps. It was a great shatter, to be fair.
Yeah.
But the boop was good, and then, I mean, somehow he literally just traverses the entire bridge and comes out.
Well, he does have a giant rocket on his back, right? So that's definitely got to be a useful part of the equation.
Yeah, but the rocket goes like this, not like this. So I don't know how helpful that is.
You know, it's probably doing these one, and it sort of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Congrats to Morton getting his first Macca's play of the game as well. I guess now he can figure out whether Aussie Macca's, well, I guess in his case now actually it's New Zealand Macca's because their gaming house is in New Zealand.
Right.
Is better than Korean Macca's.
I reckon Aussie Macca's is the best Macca's in the world.
Have you had New Zealand Macca's though?
I have. They've got pies on the menu. They've got meat pies. That seemed peculiar to me, but I guess I'm just.
I feel like if anything, that would be an Australian thing, right?
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But to be fair, I only went through the airport McDonald's, so I don't know.
Right.
Like that's we'll have to wait and see. Maybe next time. I haven't had a proper chance to appreciate New Zealand McDonald's, but I still put Australian McDonald's up there as the best in the world. That's just I do test a bit. I do like to test when we travel.
All right.
So we'll have to wait and see.
We'll get on the phone with Morton and see what he thinks. About Korea versus New Zealand, and then I suppose when he comes over here for finals, well, hopefully for Blank they come over for finals, he'll be able to try the Aussie Macca's.
Yeah.
And then we'll get there. We'll figure it all out.
We'll get the comparison.
Yeah.
Look, we're one match down, one more remains. Coming up next will be Atletico up against Mind Freak G. Who's going to be on the bottom of the table? Who's going to come ahead with the win? We'll be back right after this.